a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
The bits.
Welcome to The Bits, hosted by your favorite jam buds, Robert.
And Charlie.
Holy crap. Charlie, we're back.
We're back for sure.
Took a while because you were moving.
I was dying.
And yeah, you were dying. I got busy with a different podcast that's doing very well.
Yeah. Have y'all listened to the Pit Crew? Because now I highly recommend it, as I've listened to their entire backlog and watched all of the Pit, and also Heated Rivalry and their little bonus thing of the Putt Crew that's on the same feed. Listen, y'all are doing the most. I mean, there's 3 of you, but you're also doing the most.
We haven't even started yet. But
That's
I mean,
scary.
you know, it's days like these where I'm really busy and I'm really tired that I really wish I was a kindergarten kid again, which is coincidentally the name of this episode, season 4, episode 1, Kindergarten Kid, which premiered August 11th, 2016.
You know what's funny, Robert? At the new school that I've been working at, the principal calls it kindergarten.
Fucking Irish?
I don't know. It's just funny. He says everything else normal, but he says kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
I'm back to the Boston accents. I think that's the issue. Bostonians are fucking separate species, I swear.
Of course, before we do our episode, Charlie, did the postman bring us any posts while I was in space?
Well, you know what, Robert? We got a lot of messages to our Diamond line this day. Hey, Mr. Postman, bring me a post. Bring me the post I love the most. Yeah, we have now. I think we got at least 4 emails, so we'll read a couple of them now, and we'll save a couple of them for our next episodes. So
the first email we got is from Alana, who says, "Hi, Charlie and Robert. I just want to say your podcast is the best. And quick question: do you think Steven Universe is the best LGBTQ plus show, and why? Y'all are the best." You know, if you had asked this before Heated Rivalry came out, I would have said yes. But now that I've watched and covered Heated Rivalry, I'd have to say it's the best LGBTQ plus kid show. No, I think that's maybe
okay, but
oh,
Robert,
fuck.
we're not talking about gay show, because Heated Rivalry is the best gay show.
It's also very adult. What's the name? Norman Paranormal? What the fuck is it called? That
Paranorman?
No, fuck.
What?
There was hold on.
What are you talking about here? What's happening?
Oh, Dead End Paranormal Park. I liked that show a lot, and I think it had some good representation, and then it got canceled because Netflix hates money and LGBT people, and also giving people money.
Yeah. I feel like this is such like a loaded question. Like, I'd have to really, really think about that and sit with it to be like, is Steven Universe the best one? Listen, I'm too autistic to just answer a question without like going over all the different options. You know. But absolutely, Steven Universe is very high up there. And I say, if we're talking LGBTQ plus, like the big acronym, Steven Universe definitely is up there because it represents so many different things. Like, you got non-binary folks, you got lesbians. Do we have gay men on the show? We have like bisexuals, we have intersex. We have so many different identities.
I just want to remember if I'm a good queer person, if I remember the whole acronym LGBTQIP2SAA.
I couldn't even tell you, Robert, because there's a lot of things.
Terrible queer person. Everyone, terrible queer. Point and laugh.
This is why I just say queer a lot of the time to cover my bases.
Yeah, no, same. As the only queer sometimes man on pit crew / puck crew, we get constantly a lot of people being like, I want Robert to participate more. Why don't they talk about the gay sex? I'm like, I mean, if you want me to.
It's hilarious. I listen because I listened to everything, and somebody thought you were straight, and I'm just like, Robert, excuse me, Robert is straight, clutches pearls. Like
Yeah.
what?
I would
Who are
say
you talking
Steven
about?
Universe. Steven Universe is definitely top 5 LGBTQ plus shows.
Oh, 100%. Top 5 at the very least. So
And however you want to
maybe
rank that with the
maybe
other
we could
4
do a tier
shows.
list or something for like the bonus show, like of like awesome queer shows. Queer cartoons specifically, maybe.
I agree. We should do that.
And then let's go over the next email from February. It's from our friend. We learned how to say their name. We did. Do you remember how to say their name?
I don't.
I want to say it's like Inhai. I will probably be butchering that. But our lovely friends, hello Charlie and Robert, I have an urgent question. But actually it's 2 urgent questions. Which one do you prefer? Question 1, pizza bagel versus fantastic fries. There's ketchup inside the fries.
Yeah, I feel like that ruins fries for me. I want to be able to dip fries in whatever sauce I want to dip them in. I don't want them to be full of ketchup.
I'm also not like a ketchup person all the time for fries. Sometimes I like my fries without ketchup.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you get like a really good like chunk of fries and it's like delicious and you're like, you know what? Like, this doesn't need anything else.
You know, when they're perfectly salted, I'm just like, oh, I don't need the ketchup to add to the flavor of this. Like, this is fine on its own. I think pizza bagel might be the answer there, but I don't know.
Which is funny because I'm also not a humongous pizza bagel fan, but by default, it's what I would choose.
Yeah, I think I fully just agree with that.
I think the last time I genuinely had a pizza bagel was like middle school because they used to serve those in the lunchroom.
I didn't have pizza bagels, but I did have like pizza on like English muffins. Like, yeah, we used to make those in like Scouts and such. Question 2, the dog nut or nut dog versus fish stew pizza. What are we nutting the dog? We're nutting the dog?
No,
we're dogging the nut?
We're not. I am so confused. So then by default, I'm choosing fish stew pizza because I don't remember where the fuck this dog nut thing came from.
What is that?
Y'all, trust me, we are trying to get back into the rhythm of things. We are so thrown off because it's been a while since we recorded.
It's been so long. Is there a donut place called the Dog Nut? Is that it? I'm so confused. It's my only question, or it's my only theory on that. I guess fish stew pizza, but hold the fish, please. It's a very serious question. Thank you for asking the serious questions. But also, I have no context for dog nut anymore. If we've mentioned this on the podcast, it feels like it's been years since I've spoken to Robert on this pod.
But with that being said, we can get started with the episode.
Kindergarten Kid. It's also Robert's favorite episode, possibly. I think
it's the funniest episode for me, just because I'm a huge Looney Tunes kid. So I remember watching this for the first time and like I caught the parallels. I'm like, that's funny. I love when modern shows do like spoofs and riff on Looney Tunes.
I mean, Looney Tunes just like really invented like the cartoon gag in general. So anytime cartoons reference it, it's just like, oh, I get that.
Paying respect to their elders. So the episode starts with the crystal gems looking around the beta kindergarten, and they're searching for imprisoned corrupted gems. Steven points one out, garnet, amethyst, and pearl. I love how they like gang rush it and poof it.
Literally, they all just like go inside the hole because they're fighting it inside one of the either this is one of the holes that a gem came out of, or it's one of the ones that Jasper dug out. It might be one of the ones Jasper dug because it's very big. But they just rush it. You don't even see the fight, and hey, look, the gem is bubbled. Goodbye. But there's only one left. Only one more, and it's still in its little jail cell that Jasper put it in.
There's this like ethical quandary of, well, is what they're doing any different than what Jasper was doing? Yeah, it is, because Jasper was just keeping these corrupted gems in cages, whereas when they get bubbled and sent back to the temple, they aren't causing harm to anyone. They are in the sanctity of the bubble, sort of potentially recovering. So it is significantly different.
Peridot is also like, wow, I can't believe these things used to be gems. They're so stupid. And Steven's just like, you guys don't have these on Homeworld? Like, no, they don't. They don't, Steven. Fun fact.
They don't
gems
have
are
anything like this on Homeworld because, perfectionism slash what's fascism. Hey, fuck fascism. We haven't said that in a while.
Fuck fascism. Yeah. Yeah, no, the gem world, Homeworld could never have had these things.
I've become I've gone full circle again, and I've started re-listening to the Shrek musical like crazy. And one of my favorite songs is the Welcome to Duloc song, which I think that, Yellow Diamond could do perfectly, by the way. Someone get Patti LuPone, who I think is kind of canceled right now. I'm not exactly sure, but let's pretend she's not for a second, and let's get her to sing this song.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she is. So they fail at catching this last corrupted gem who is just like, how do you describe this thing? It has no arms. It's just got like chicken legs and then like a fur body. And where's the gem place? Is it all like on its forehead? It's got no eyes and a giant mouth with 3 tongues. Yeah, it's blue.
Dabba-dee-dabba-die.
Oh no, it does have eyes. On either side of its gem, it's got 3 eyes. Who is this gem? Do we know?
Is this gem end up becoming an important character later? Who's to say?
Tongue Monster debut. Let's see. We have no fucking clue what kind of gem she is. Okay. From the wiki is that maybe she's a zircon based off of her gemstone's appearance. Okay. But yeah, they try to let it out and then capture it, and they all got rushed, and Peridot's just laughing at them like, what? That thing's so dumb. How did you get outsmarted by it? It's just a brute. Pearl tries to give a play-by-play of like, well, we did this and we did that and it didn't really work. And they're just like, you know what? We're going to give up. Like, I don't...
Classic neurodivergent thing where you're like, how did this happen? Well, you see... No, I don't actually want to know how it happened. I'm just so mad and upset at you. I'm like, then why did you ask me?
Yeah. Peridot decides that she's gonna figure this out herself. So the rest of the crystal gems are like, okay, well, we're done. We're done here. She can do it herself. And Steven's like, but wait, she's all alone. She has no idea what she's doing. And they're like, Steven, Peridot will be fine. Steven's like, no, I meant the corrupted gem. And that is my favorite joke from this episode. So they all leave. And Garnet's sure that they're going to be okay because future vision and everything. And Peridot's like, your issue before was that you were trying to outbrute it. I'm going to outsmart it because I'm the smartest gem ever.
Which is absolutely hilarious to me because this is just Wile E. Coyote to a T.
Correct. This whole episode is just Wile E. Coyote.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop. So they kind of follow it and are like watching from afar, like, what does it like? What is it gonna do? Oh, it's just kind of sitting there and looking at like shiny stuff. And there's a big injector right above it. Maybe Peridot can use her metal powers to make it fall.
And so one by one, she gets like the legs out of the injector. It's not falling, but the gem, is like, oh, shit's falling. I'm gonna walk away. Peridot walks over and starts kicking the wall that the injector's embedded in. And Steven's like, Peridot, watch yourself. And she's like, oh, thanks, Steven. And then she moves slightly over to the left and starts kicking the wall again. And then a bunch of rocks fall on her.
Yep. But you know what? She's fine. Steven comes toward her like, oh no, are you okay? And of course, Tongue Monster Gem. Tongue Monster apparently is just her name. She comes back and she like scratches out Steven. Peridot gets out from under the rocks to try to get at the Tongue Monster. And finally, the injector falls on her. She's fine, by the way. She's not getting poofed. So they need to figure out a new strategy. We need to do something else here. This is not gonna work. When have Peridot's metal powers actually worked to, do anything? That one time that she beat Jasper, that was like it. And it only worked after 20 minutes.
And she's going to ride that high for the rest of her life.
Correct. I would. The best thing she ever did. The only non-fusion to beat Jasper. I mean, so she builds something pretty cool out of the injector. She like makes it into a rudimentary cannonball. And it immediately gets stuck when the tongue monster comes back and she's trying to shoot at it. She hits it and it blasts her backward into a giant wall. Rocks fall on her again, and tongue monster attacks Steven. They're both so disheveled. They've gotten beat up twice now. So we have to rely on simple physics.
Mm-hmm.
Just push a rock onto the monster when it, goes underneath this chasm.
I mean, makes sense, right? But then Steven's like, well, how do you know it's going to be where you want it to be?
Because she just knows.
And as he says that, the corrupted gem approaches them from behind and scares Peridot and Steven off the edge. Peridot, falls to the ground. Steven floats. And then, once again, the boulder falls and crushes Peridot. But that's not it. It then, keeps rolling with her stuck to it. Steven chases it. He bubbles himself. It goes on a loop-de-loop, crashes into the bubble. The bubble crashes back into the boulder. And then the boulder keeps going without Peridot on that loop-de-loop and then gets to the peak and then falls on Peridot.
Robert, if this were my other podcast where I cover Steven Universe, where I cover Scooby-Doo, I would be counting all the shenanigans, cartoon shenanigans that are happening right now as this is ridiculous. We're going off here. But it's the end of the day. Steven decides to make a fire and Peridot's working on her next plan. I don't even know what the heck she was doing, but she was still using the injector to try to make something. It immediately falls down. Where did Steven get the marshmallows from?
I would have said lion, but lion's not here. So I'm curious where the fuck he got these marshmallows. Maybe he went home to get them?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I would have left Peridot alone even to just get marshmallows for 2 minutes. Because I think there's a warp pad somewhere nearby. And this is when they start talking about how much Peridot's been saying, oh my god, these monsters are so dumb. They're so stupid. And Peridot.
Stop using the word stupid, Peridot. I like how Steven just starts pelting her with marshmallows and he's like, oh, hey, you're in a loud environment where people are trying to hurt you. Are you stupid? And it kind of, I say the word kind of very, very loosely, helps Peridot to understand what's going on. And that the corrupted gem isn't stupid. It's just thinking in a different way.
Yeah, I would say that these corrupted gems, it's not that they're stupid. They're just instinctual. They're acting more like animals who have an instinct to do this thing versus people who are instincts are gone. We're only thinking logic. So they've kind of gone to this fight or flight kind of deal. And the tongue monster is certainly fighting Peridot whenever she gets near and then running the fuck away. So we gotta figure out a new parry plan that's going to have them think more like this monster that does not want to be screamed at or pelted with marshmallows.
And it's sort of this, here's the plan. The plan is, hey, Peridot, walk up to the corrupted gem and think like a monster. And what Peridot assumes that means is she pulls a frog face. This is one of the most iconic Peridot faces in the entire show.
Blah, blah.
And then she jumps around and blabs, and then she jumps over to the corrupted gem and starts going blah blah, and it fucking makes me laugh every time, my guy.
They're speaking the same language. Peridot has no idea what she's saying, but somehow she's getting by. They're communing, and then Peridot walks up super close and just kicks it in the face. And he's like, and what does it do? Immediately attacks her. They're wrestling. Peridot grabs onto its face. Steven tries to help her. Immediately gets kicked away in his bubble, and this is a whole sequence of weirdness where again we have the circular rock formation that tongue monster is running around while Peridot is stuck to it, and then they both fall off the perfectly placed chasm that we had earlier, where Peridot is holding onto the gem give it to me, and they fall. And it goes like a mushroom cloud. Steven's like, oh my god, are they okay? Is Peridot... No, she's fine.
Paradots, as it turns out, are very difficult to poof.
Very difficult to poof. Like, there's the shape of the monster and Peridot in the ground, and she's standing by herself with the gem. And hey, guess who never left?
The crystal gems.
No way. They've been here the whole time. Garnet's like,
They've been here
we're
the
watching.
whole time. And it's mainly because Garnet has, her future vision. So, of course, she can predict and be like, oh, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it was going to be funny. They wanted to watch because it was going to be funny. Maybe they gave Steven the marshmallows in secret. I have no idea. I want to know where he got those marshmallows. And Peridot's like, you know what? This was more difficult than I thought it would be, but I did it. Okay? I defeated this corrupted gem, and she forms a bubble. What?
She is a crystal gem now, after all. And she's also confused at how to make the bubble work. And Steven's like, oh, just think about sending it home. And so she sends it home. And the episode ends with the bubble appearing in the barn and Lapis looking up briefly at it before returning back to her book.
This is not defeating the gay allegations because I know they live together. I know they're roommates, but also Lapis is her home. Anyway, just want to say that. Yay, Perry did something. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Charlie.
Do you want to go to the Crystal Temple?
For some Crystal Temple trivia.
Peridot bubbles a gem for the first time in this episode. Peridot's bubbles are shown to be lime green, just like her gem. It is also shown that gem bubbles are sent to wherever the gem that made it considers to be home. For the crystal gems, that's the Crystal Temple. For Peridot, it's the barn.
Peridot reveals that her gem type is extremely resilient to physical trauma and are hard to proof. However, she was poofed nearly instantaneously and with ease by Garnet in Catch and Release, so this could possibly be a continuity error. Her resilience is possibly a reference to real-life Peridots, which are in 6.5 to 7 in Mohs scale of hardness.
I mean, you know what? My argument for that is that maybe she's just stronger when she doesn't actually have the limb enhancers. Because she had the limb enhancers at the time, too. This is the second episode to use the Beta Kindergarten as the title card, the first being Earthlings.
This is the third episode where Steven is absent in the ending scene, the first being Monster Buddies, and the second being an indirect kiss.
For cultural references, this episode is most likely referencing the Looney Tunes cartoons starring Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. There are many similarities, including the desert environment. Peridot and Steven trying to outsmart the corrupted gem, but always fail as the corrupted gem runs away. Peridot falling off of cliffs and getting crushed by boulders. The design of the corrupted gem and her behaviors also seems to be a reference to the Roadrunner, with blue fur, long avian legs, the ability to run fast, and a habit of making guttural noises using her tongues, synonymous with the Roadrunner's meep meep catchphrase. I forgot about that. Peridot constructs an elaborate device to catch the gem, only to have it backfire at the moment of truth. In one scene, Peridot wrestles the corrupted gem, and in the end, falls off the cliff with the corrupted gem in a similar way the coyote does. When they hit the ground, a donut-shaped cloud appears. The spot where they fell forms a hole shaped like her and the corrupted gem's bodies. The animators employed a fade-to-black transition between scenes, imitating the Looney Tunes style. Your turn.
When Peridot is pinned under the boulder with only her legs visible, this could be a reference to the Wicked Witch of the East's iconic scene from The Wizard of Oz, where the witch gets crushed by Dorothy's house, leaving only her legs seen.
The roar sound effect used for the corrupted gem bubbled by Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl at the beginning of the episode is taken from the Varactyl, a reptilian creature from the Star Wars universe. Didn't realize that.
When Peridot says, I'm smarter than your average Peridot, this could be a reference to I'm smarter than the average bear, commonly referenced from Yogi Bear.
The book Lapis Lazuli was reading, Pretty Hairstylist, is most likely a reference to the Pretty Cure anime and manga series.
Stephen mentioning about endless suffering is probably based on Buddha's Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. More specifically, the first noble truth stated by Buddha, given that man's suffering is indeed endless and inevitable. Or, I don't know how to pronounce this word, dukkha. Dukkha. I think dukkha sounds correct. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
When Peridot sends her bubble off to the barn, Steven says, Happy trails! This is a possible reference to the film Die Hard, in which Bruce Willis' character says "Happy Trails, Hans," as Hans Gruber stumbles backward through the window after being shot in the chest. Okay,
I know. Hey, Charlie, it's your favorite section. We haven't been here in a while.
continuity?
This episode follows up on the plot of Jasper's corrupted gem army that she imprisoned in the Beta Kindergarten, which was left abandoned after Jasper's corruption and poofing.
The book Lapis was reading, Pretty Hairstylist Volume 3, was seen being read by Amethyst in the episodes Keeping It Together and Crack the Whip.
And now it is time for our Pearl Points. Charlie, who are you giving your Pearl Point to?
That's a good question. Who am I giving my Pearl Point to?
I am giving my Pearl Point to Lapis. Because that is Peridot's home.
You know what? I said it first, but yeah, that's true. I'm gonna give my Pearl Point to the injector that Peridot, that both fell on Peridot and that she used to create the cannon thing. So yeah, I don't know. I like that happened twice. We had a lot of injectors in this episode.
What's the meme? If I had a nickel every time something happened, or whatever. And then the question for the episode, Charlie. What do we have a question for?
Have you ever seen Looney Tunes?
I have watched Looney Tunes a lot. I actually recently was like, oh, I need 10 minutes to kill and I don't feel like doing anything. Let me just put on a Looney Tunes cartoon, and I had a great time.
Yeah. That's not Looney Tunes. I watched a lot of Tom and Jerry as a kid. That's not Looney Tunes. But it's vaguely related. I had a Tweety Bird bedroom as a child. That was one of my first bedrooms. I don't remember watching a lot of Looney Tunes, I'm not gonna lie. But I did know who everybody was at one point, and I liked Tweety Bird. Because Tweety Bird.
Hell
who doesn't
yeah.
like Tweety Bird?
Charlie, I'd like to thank you for making a podcast with me.
Robert, I'd like to thank you for putting up with me and all of my bullshit and being my friend and also making podcasts with me, I guess. Fuck fascism. Love you, man. But, if every podcast were perfect,
we wouldn't have the bits.
Bye-bye.
You can follow this podcast socials at thebitssupod on Instagram and Tumblr. You can send a message to our dime line through thebitssupod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support us financially, join us at patreon.com/thebitsu. By becoming a patron, you can join the Deus Ex Media Discord server, where you'll be able to chat with us and other listeners about Steven Universe, or whatever else. Our $5 patron tier also gets you access to Steven's Room, our monthly bonus show. There, we'll talk about a wide variety of topics, which usually have something to do with Steven in some way. No promises.
You can check out our merch store, The Bits SU, on Redbubble to find custom designs made by Charlie, me. Or if you cannot do that or do not want to support us financially, we'd really appreciate a rating, a review, or letting your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. It really helps. Our music was written and produced by Jason Hilton. You can find him at Negative Selections on Instagram. You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms. I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws. You can also hear my voice on 2 other podcasts. I co-host another podcast on the network with Ray called Of the Eldest Gods, where we talk about the mythology book series by Rick Riordan, starting with Percy Jackson. I also co-host a podcast with my buddy Ethan called Mysteries in the Machine, where we talk about all things Scooby-Doo.
You can find me, Robert, at the Damn Meme page on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. If you want to hear more from me, check out my YouTube channel, also called the Damn Meme page, where I make videos mainly about Percy Jackson, but also sometimes other fun stuff. If you want to find me elsewhere in the podcast verse, you can also tune into my podcast, The Pit Crew, a show dedicated to dissecting the HBO Max medical drama, The Pit. The Bits is proud to be a part of Deus Ex Media, which features great podcasts like Of the Eldest Gods, a chapter-by-chapter Rick Riordan pod with mythological context and no spoilers.
Well, we finished the Percy Jackson series. Wait, what are we still doing here? And what is that music?
Oh, you thought it was over, bro? We're just getting started.
We are? Charlie, what's next for Of the Eldest Gods?
Well, Ray, it's time for us to go into our Egyptian era. We're gonna start the Kane Chronicles.
Oh, hell yeah! Wait, why do you have a glowing boomerang?
Don't worry about it. It's just my Egyptian magic wand.
Man, the Egyptian stuff isn't gonna be like the Greek stuff, is it?
Not at all. But we'll still cover mythology as it comes up in each chapter.
Are we gonna have cabins this season?
Nah, the Canes don't have cabins. So instead, I'm Charlie, following the path of Bast.
And I'm Ray, following the path of Geb.
Join us as we read The Red Pyramid, the first book of the Kane Chronicles, chapter by chapter.
Welcome back to Of the Eldest Gods.
Deus Ex Media.